All right, today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and, just gentle personalities in the Enneagram, the Type 9. You probably know them as the Peacemaker. We're going to get right into their world, figure out what really drives them, what their biggest struggles are, and uncover this kind of hidden power they have. So let's start by tuning into the little voice inside their head.
This right here, this is pretty much it. If you could tap into the brain of a Type 9, this is the thought that's on a constant, quiet loop. And it's not just, a nice idea or a preference. It is their fundamental operating system. It's the compass that points them in a certain direction for pretty much every single decision they make. It's like their personal mission statement for getting through the day.
So how does that internal mission statement actually show up in the real world? Well, on the surface, what we see is this calm, super agreeable, stable person. They're the ones who naturally step in to mediate, the people who just seem to glide through life, never making any waves. Let's break down the specific behaviors that come from this deep need for harmony.
Okay, you'll definitely recognize a Type 9 by these kinds of actions. They are absolute masters of de-escalation, always looking for that middle ground. They've got that classic, we'll manage attitude, right? They're always the ones saying, it's gonna be fine. They just so easily adapt and merge with what other people need, and that often means their own wants get pushed to the back burner. And you gotta listen to how they talk. It's full of these little softening phrases, all designed to just smooth things over.
Now, this is what's so important to get. Framing this as a survival strategy is everything. For a Type 9, peace and harmony, it isn't some nice-to-have luxury. It feels like an absolute necessity. Their core driver is all about creating this stable, secure bubble where they and everyone they care about can just feel safe and comfortable.
But that calm, easygoing exterior, that's really only half the story. To really get what makes a Type 9 tick, we have to go deeper. We got to look beneath the surface at the hidden, inner calculation that's running all the time.
And this slide just nails that internal split perfectly. What we see on the outside is someone who's so relaxed, so easygoing. But what's actually happening on the inside is this constant, super fast mental math. Okay, if I say what I really want, is that going to cause tension? Is it going to mess up the vibe? That calm surface is powered by a very, very active mind.
And it is absolutely crucial to understand this part. They aren't just afraid of a simple argument. That's not it at all. For a Type 9, conflict sets off this deep, almost primal alarm bell. It screams danger because it represents the possibility of disconnection, of relationships breaking, and that feels like a fundamental threat to their sense of belonging.
And these phrases, this is that inner voice that keeps them in line. It's like this constant background noise of self-correction, and its only job is to maintain harmony. It's always whispering, hey, don't stir things up now. Or, you know what, your opinion isn't worth ruining the mood. It's an incredibly powerful force that pretty much guarantees their real desires to stay locked away.
So this brings us to the real conflict at the heart of the Peacemaker. This noble, beautiful quest for harmony, well, it can have a pretty significant downside. Because in the process of making sure everyone else is okay, they can start to forget about themselves. They can literally start to just fade into the background of their own lives.
And this is such a critical distinction to make. The peace they're creating, is it a true, genuine inner calm, or is it just the absence of noise because they've successfully dodged every single difficult conversation? This false peace is super fragile. It's built on avoidance, not on actually resolving anything.
And right here, this is the fundamental problem. It's often called self-forgetting. Because they're so focused on making room for everyone else, their own voice just gets quieter, and their own priorities get blurrier, until one day they honestly can't even answer the simple question, what do I want? So this self-forgetting leads to some real risks. Risk number one, passivity. It's just so much easier to go along with whatever everyone else wants, to just silently agree, rather than speak up and risk making waves.
Then there's risk number two, a postponed life. That phrase, we'll see later, becomes their go-to response for everything. And by constantly avoiding decisions that could cause even a little bit of friction, they end up putting their own goals, their own dreams, heck, their own happiness on hold indefinitely.
Okay, risk number 3 is fascinating. 9s are actually in the anger triad of the Enneagram, which sounds weird, right? But their anger is usually invisible. See, it doesn't just go away. It gets pushed down, buried, where it builds up and builds up as resentment. And then it starts to leak out sideways as passive aggressiveness, or once in a blue moon, a huge, surprising explosion.
And finally, risk number 4, erased boundaries.
This is the ultimate danger. Their boundaries can get so soft that they basically dissolve. They merge so completely with other people that the question, what do I want, might not even pop into their head anymore. So yeah, they succeed in keeping the peace, but the price they pay can be their own presence in their own life.
Okay, but let's not get stuck on the challenges, because this is so important. When a type 9 is healthy and really self-aware, all of these tendencies transform into a genuine superpower. So let's talk about the incredible gifts they bring to the table. A healthy type 9 is truly a force for good. Their calm isn't passive, it's grounding, it's trustworthy. Because they can genuinely see every single side of an issue, their perspective is so balanced and fair. They're incredibly empathetic, patient, and they have this rare, amazing ability to mend relationships and just hold people together when things are falling apart.
I absolutely love this idea. It's such a perfect metaphor. Just think about it for a second. In a super tense meeting, or a chaotic family dinner, or with a stressed out team at work, the type 9 is that person whose presence alone can actually lower everyone's blood pressure. They literally regulate the nervous system of the crowd. And this is why their gift is so much bigger than just being nice. It's about actively creating a space where people feel safe, where they feel heard and included. Honestly, in a world that feels so divided all the time, this ability to be the societal glue, man, that's not just valuable, it's essential.
So the big question is, how does a type 9 make that shift? How do they go from the risk of fading away to stepping into that superpower? Well, the whole journey is about changing their relationship with the idea of peace itself. Let's look at what that path forward looks like. The real key to their growth is this idea of right action. And this little phrase changes everything. See, the goal is no longer just to passively keep the peace by avoiding stuff. The new goal is to actively create wholeness and real harmony, even if that means you have to have a tough conversation to get there. It's a huge shift from avoidance to engagement.
And you can really see this transformation in action. When a type 9 is under a lot of stress, they can start to look a lot like an unhealthy type 6, getting really anxious and indecisive. But when they're healthy, when they're at ease and growing, they start to take on the amazing goal-oriented energy of a type 3. They actually become more decisive and productive, and they start to feel good about what they accomplish.
So how do you actually do this? Here are 4 really practical, powerful steps. First, start seeing your anger differently. It's not a threat, it's just a little compass pointing to something that matters to you. Second, practice setting teeny tiny boundaries. A boundary isn't a wall, right? It's just a way to make a relationship healthier. Third, take one small concrete action on a goal, just one. This helps build that momentum, that self-trust. And finally, maybe the most important of all, just practice asking yourself for like 2 minutes a day, hey, what do I want?
And this really brings us to the final question to chew on. And honestly, this isn't just for type 9s, it's for every single one of us. The peace you're looking for in your life, is it an escape? Is it just a way to avoid the hard stuff? Or is it an action? Is it something you are actively and consciously building? Because the difference between those two things, well, that's the whole ballgame.